5 plumbing apprentice do's and don'ts. Let's talk about it.
I'm Kenny Molotov, licensed plumber, professional magician, and entertainer. On this channel, I go through the ins and outs of my career in plumbing. I take you through a day in the life and we talk tools, theory, and mindset. I'm trying to give you an arsenal of knowledge and an online resource so you can take this trade head on and find yourself successful on the other end. Click subscribe, hit that bell notification, and let's talk pipes.
Peeps, Kenny Molotov here in the studio, and I wanted to talk to you about something that's really important to you and also was to me and is to me to this day, which is what are some of the guidelines you can follow to know whether or not you're stepping over a boundary or if you're on the right track in this trade. So I started to do an overview of the things that I thought were important and I did well as a plumbing apprentice, but also things that I did poorly as a plumbing apprentice, and I had to learn the hard way that I shouldn't have done them before. So I'm going to try to provide all that knowledge for you so that you know that you are on the right track when you finally get your foot in the door. So this is going to be really useful for plumbing apprentices in the first year all the way up to your journey person. There are still things that I follow to this day because these are really important and they're going to be really crucial for your development as a plumber. So let's start off with the very first rule, which is the most important. Don't be late, or in other words, be on time. Now this is going to be crucial for you because a lot of showing your reliability is you showing that you're gonna be there exactly when people need you to be there. This is really crucial and you really want to make sure, especially in the first few months to first year, etc., that people know, hey, look, if Kenny says he's gonna be here at 9, he's actually here at 8:45, so we're good to go, if you know what I'm saying. So it's really crucial to nail this behavior down, because what you're gonna notice is once you implement this just in being on time, you're gonna be doing this for a lot of things. So it ends up actually helping you in the long run. And here's an interesting way of thinking about it as well. If you're late, it actually ends up working against you in the long run as well, because think about it. Here's a crucial reason why you have to be on time, especially for the service side of things. In service work, you're expected to be at your first job at a certain time. So let's say that time is 9 a.m. If you are not at the customer by 9 a.m., first of all, you're gonna make your boss look bad in front of that customer. But that also means that that job is gonna end a little bit later, and then you're gonna come to your next appointment late as well, and that job's gonna end a little bit later. Then you're gonna come to your third appointment late as well, and that job's gonna end up a little bit later. So what you're gonna notice is that you were hoping to get home by 5 p.m., but now you're running into 6 p.m., 7 p.m. That's all because you weren't able to get there on time, and then your boss wasn't able to work on time as well. So it's really important for you to be able to do this and be on time. Another thing you have to note is here in Ontario, union plumbers work in new construction, and unions typically work at a strict regimented time frame. So in other words, they start their work every day at the same time, they have lunch every day at the same time, have their breaks every day at the same time, they end every day at the same time. So if you're coming in late for those sorts of things, people are gonna start feeling like you're not really pulling your weight around there, and you're gonna end up having a bad reputation about it. So in order to prove your reliability, in order to show people that you're ready to work and eager to work, you're gonna wanna be on time and ready to go every single day. So the second do that I really want to stipulate is ask questions. This is crucial to your development as a plumber, as a helper, as an apprentice, and all those things. It's always a good idea to go, so why are we doing this, or what's happening here? Trying to figure out the details of the job is always crucial and always important, and when your journey person realizes that you're eager and interested, you're gonna notice the conversations in the truck or the conversation around lunch become really more fun because both of you are kind of nerding about plumbing, and that's something plumbers and tradespersons do all the time. So a lot of times Dad and I sit down and I'll say, you know what happened to me the other day? I went to this job site and this happened. And my dad will go, oh, you know what? That happened to me a long time ago. How did you figure it out? I said, well, I did this and this and this. And he'll go, oh, that's interesting. I did it a different way. And all of a sudden you're bouncing ideas on how to solve problems together. It's actually a really fun process. It doesn't only happen in the trades. It happens in any sort of niche market where people are finally coming together with like minds. So asking questions and figuring things out with your journey person is going to be crucial for the bond between you two, and also again for the development of you. But here's a don't that I really want to stipulate. There are good times to ask questions and there are inappropriate times to ask questions as well. So for example, if you notice any tension in the room, if you pick up a whiff of any tension, so maybe the customer is really hounding your journey person about something, they're upset about whatever, that's not usually the appropriate time to ask questions. If you notice that you're on a time crunch, that's usually not the time to ask questions, because questions do slow down the process of getting work done. Some of the best times to ask questions is if you're driving to another job site. Turn to your journey person and say, so what happened back there? Why did we end up using this? Or why did we do that? And that's a great time for that to take place. Another really good time to ask questions I find is when you finally get to the truck to now assemble all the tools to take back into the job site. If you're not on a time crunch and you notice that your journey person is chill, then it is totally appropriate to ask them, so what's going on there? Why are we doing this? Etc, etc, etc. Now, I want to bring up one more thing about asking questions that's a little bit of a tangent, but I think needs to be said. Sometimes the word why or the question why can come across as a little bit rude and almost a little bit frustrating. And I'm going to give you an example as to what to avoid as a plumbing apprentice, okay? If your journey person turns to you and they say, can you go get this pipe wrench for me in the truck? Turning to them and asking why is not really the appropriate question you should be asking there, because it comes across as if you really don't want to run to the truck and you're frustrated that you have to run to the truck. So as a journey person, if I had a helper and I said, can you go grab this for me? And you go, why? For me, it's sort of going, I don't know, are you tired? Maybe you don't want to run to the truck? Is that why you're asking the question? You know, it comes across a little bit as a challenge. So when people get challenged, it gets really dicey really quickly, and it could be a little bit offensive, to be honest. Sometimes when we ask why, we really mean, what are we gonna use this for? And that's an entirely different question, and you should learn to differentiate the question why from, well, what are we using this for? The best time to ask that question, though, is coming back from the truck with the tool and saying, so what are we using this for? That is always the best version of that question. Now, I'd like to point out, this is within reason. For example, if somebody's asking you to do something that you're a little bit concerned for your well-being, you absolutely have the right to ask why, and I would suggest asking why. If you have to climb a tall ladder, etc., or you're feeling uncomfortable, the question why is important. But if the question is why, whenever somebody's asking you to do something and they are your ranking plumber, then you have to be aware of how it's coming across, because it could come across a little bit rude. I hope that made sense. So the third don't that I want to talk about, I sort of touched upon in the second one, and it is don't challenge your journey person, especially in front of customers. So here's the thing. Every once in a while, you're going to be confused as to why your journey person is deciding to take the route that they're taking. Why are they driving this way instead of going down St. Clair Avenue or something like that? Or you're going to be seeing an installation, you're going to be thinking to yourself, why is my journey person going this way when I would have taken a different route? This is natural, this is understandable. Here's where it gets a little bit dicey. If you're asking the questions why in front of a customer, that is a moment where you're challenging your journey person in front of that customer, because you're basically saying, look, I don't know why you're doing it that way. And now the customer's standing there thinking to themselves, wow, do these two know what's going on? Do they even know how to do plumbing correctly, or what's going on? And the last thing you want to do is make the customer think to themselves those questions. What you really want to do is make the customer understand you both are very competent individuals ready for the work, and any sort of questions of why you're doing it this way, you're gonna hold off till the customer is not there. And then you're gonna bring up the question politely and say, look, I'm a little bit confused as to why you're doing it this way. I always imagine in my mind it would be easier if we run the pipe in this fashion right here, and that's a totally acceptable way of asking a question, and your journey person will explain it to you, and that's totally cool. But never under any circumstance turn to your journey person and say to them, I don't know why you're doing it this way, that seems dumb, or something very harsh like that, especially in front of a customer. You have to make sure that everybody understands this is your ranking plumber, you're there as a helper, you're learning, you're ready to facilitate whatever the plumber needs, and also you're eager to work, and that way the customer also understands the roles of everybody, and the customer is comfortable with you both being in the house. So the fourth do is make sure you do bring safety equipment every single day. This is non-negotiable, peeps, because if you don't show up on a job site with your safety equipment, they're gonna send you home. Bottom line, if you don't walk into the truck and have your safety shoes ready, I have to let you go because you're a liability to the company. In other words, if you get injured on a job site, I'm responsible for you. So if you didn't have steel toes and you get injured and you break a toe, insurance is automatically gonna look towards me and they're gonna say, what the heck's going on here? Did this happen purposely? No, of course not. I wouldn't want you to hurt yourself purposely ever, but that's the question I'm gonna be asked because insurance is always a little bit worried that people are taking advantage of the system of insurance. So you have to have your steel toes, you have to have safety glasses, you have to have ear protection, so either earbuds that you can put in to block out sound or even an overhead pair of ear protection as well. You have to have these handy because you're gonna be in dangerous environments. That's the one thing about the trades that's a little bit different from a lot of work, which is we go into environments where there are nails on the ground, where there's sheet metal sticking out that can cut you, where things that are heavy can drop on your toes. You know, these are the sorts of things that we deal with on a day-to-day basis. And if you don't show up to work prepared, then A, you can't come to work. You have to go back home, go get the equipment, or just start again the following day. And B, it'll show everybody that you're ready to go, you're ready to work, and you're eager as well. So the fifth and final do that I want to suggest is bring your tools with you. Now, when you first start off in your apprenticeship, of course, you're not going to be lugging around a toolbox. You're not at that point where you know what tools you need to buy or even have a truck to bring with it, etc. So you're going to start off really small. I have a video called Top 7 Plumbing Apprentice Tools You Should Get, and I've been walking around with these ever since the beginning of my apprenticeship, and I still walk into job sites with these on my person at all time, and that's what you should do as well. There are things that you're gonna need for sure. You're gonna need a pair of channel lock pliers, you're gonna need a screwdriver, you're gonna need an X-Acto knife or a knife on you, you're gonna need a tape measure, you're gonna need all these sorts of things that you can find in this video, and you can bring them with you every day. And what you're gonna notice is that it's gonna make your transition into your apprenticeship a little bit easier because at some point your boss is gonna want you to measure pipe. So instead of taking the measurement out of your journey person's hand, you take it off your belt, you measure yourself, you start cutting, etc. So it's actually gonna make you a little bit proactive on the job site, which is gonna make it easier and easier for your journey person to turn to you and say, okay, cut me 2 3/4 inches. That's it, you're good to go. You have a tape measure ready. Another thing is if you have a Sharpie on you, you could always mark the length and then cut it as well. If you have a knife on you, it's really easy to open up bags of fittings or any boxes that you're gonna have to deal with. And then with your channel lock pliers and also your screwdriver, you're gonna be able to get into a bunch of things. And because you have them, your journey person will say, okay, you stay there. Once the water's shut, you can take off the toilet supply line. You have the pliers ready. You don't have to use mine. So I'm telling you, it's gonna be really useful for you to walk onto a job site with those tools. Because again, the whole point of this list right here is to make everybody know that you're ready to go. You show up on time. You ask questions when it's appropriate to ask questions. You don't ask why when somebody asks you to do something unless you're in danger or unless you have to do something you're not comfortable with. You don't challenge your boss in front of customer. You have all your safety equipment on you at all time and you have your tools on you. This guideline is designed to basically give you the best reputation you can have when you walk into the door on your very first day, and then every single day subsequently. So that's the whole point of this list. It's supposed to give you a game plan, and if you follow the game plan, you're going to give yourself the best opportunity to A, stay with the company that you're with, or at least build the right habits and right attitude from the moment you start with whatever company you start with. So peeps, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment below. Let me know of any do's and don'ts that you think should have been on this list, and I'll see you plumbers very soon. Kenny Molotov, guys. Peace, baby.